Unit 2, solving equations and inequalities, question number 7. So question number 7 wants us to solve the following inequality. I know it's an inequality because of the operator, this less than sign. We're solving for v, okay? So here we see variables on both sides of the equations. That's a problem because we need to have variables on the same side and then constants on the same side, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to move this variable, all right, to where more of the variables are. So there's 3 v's over here, there's 4 v's. So there's more v's on this side. So I'm going to try to move this variable over here. But again, I could move this over here. It doesn't really matter. Okay? So actually, the way that you see it more on delta math, it's going to be where you move this over here. So let's actually do that. So I'm going to move the 4v to the left side by subtracting 4v on both sides of the equations underneath the v. This gets cancelled, okay? Then I'm going to move the constant that's on the left side to the right side by subtracting 5 on both sides of the equations, and that gets cancelled, okay? So 3v minus 4v is negative 1v is less than negative 2 minus 5 is negative 7, okay? So now I need to break up this multiplying by negative 1 by dividing both sides by negative 1. So we will get that v is, we divided by a negative. Whenever you divide by a negative, you flip your operator. So it goes to the other direction. Okay? So negative 7 divided by negative 1 is positive 7. Okay? Alright, so let's try the one below. Okay? So again, we're solving, so we're isolating something. Okay? We're isolating D. And again, we have our inequality because we see that less than or equal to sign. So again, I'm going to move my d's to the left side by subtracting 3d. Subtracting 3d. That gets cancelled. And I'm going to move my constant to the right by adding 5, and this gets cancelled. Okay? So 6d minus 3d is 3d is less than or equal to negative 6 plus 5 is negative 1. Okay? So then now I would go ahead, did I do this right? The plus 5, yeah, negative 1. So then now I would divide by 3, so d would be less than or equal to negative 1 over 3, okay? And we can't simplify this anymore, so that's the simplest our fraction can be, okay? So this is my answer. Another way you could write this answer is negative 1 over 3. The way this is facing the number is greater than or equal to d, okay? So that's another way you could answer it. These are the same thing, so both ways work, okay? Same way this could be written as 7 is less than v, okay? Because again, the multiple of this is facing the v, multiple of this is facing the v, the multiple of this is facing the negative 1 over 3, the multiple of this is facing the negative 1 over 3. This is the answer, okay? This is the answer, but if you wanted to know an alternative, this is also the answer. Both of these work, okay? So alright guys, so for the next one, I'm drawing my line here. I know it's an inequality because of that less than sign. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and try to isolate the variable. I'm isolating that variable n. Okay, so when I isolate that variable, I'm going to move my variable to the left side by adding 3n to both sides of the equations. Then I'm going to move the constant to the other side by subtracting 8 to both sides of the equations. Okay, alright. Alright, so subtracting 8, that gets cancelled. Negative 5n plus 3n is negative 2n is less than 4 minus 8 is negative 4. Okay, alright, so now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. When I divide by negative, that's when this flips to the other direction, not when the answer is negative, when you divide by negative. So n will be greater than negative 4 divided by negative 2 is positive 2. Okay, so another way you could write this is 2 is less than n. Okay, so that's another way you could write it. And if you look, the mouth is facing the n, so the mouth is facing the n. So I like to say the alligator likes to eat whatever is the largest. Okay, this is the answer, but this is also the answer. Okay, so let's do the last one. So again, I bring the operator down. Alright, then I move my g's to the other side, so I add 2g, this gets cancelled. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and add 6, because again, I'm trying to move the variables to the left, constants to the right. Negative 3g plus 2g is negative 1g is less than 4 plus 6 is 10. Then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1. Divide by negative 1. When you divide by a negative, the operator flips to the other direction. So G is greater than 10 divided by negative 1 is negative 10. Okay? So then I do the opposite, which is negative 10 is less than G. If you look, the mouth is facing the G, the mouth is facing the G. So this is the answer, but this is also the alternative. Okay? So again, guys, just like that.